Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. So today, quick video, gonna go over the differences between these two Megatron figures right here. This one is the official Hasbro Studio Series 86, and this one here is the AliExpress knockoff. Of course, I'm sure you can buy it on Temu too. Wherever knockoffs are sold, you can probably buy this one. And this one came out pretty quick, and I don't think it's been out too long. And I just kind of wanted to do a quick little comparison to see if this might be a good or even preferable option to this one, seeing as how this one is kind of hard to find. And on top of that, when you do find him, it's usually on the secondary market, and he goes for quite a bit of money. I mean, retail on this guy, I picked him up at GameStop and it was $63.99, so $64 plus tax. On the aftermarket, like eBay, Mercari, stuff like that, he's going for $100 or more. So could this be a good option? We'll talk about price towards the end. By the way, there is the box for the KO. Decent box. Comes nicely packaged when you pick it up. But first and foremost, let's talk about the sculpt on this thing. I will tell you right now that outside of one thing, which I will show you, I did not notice a difference in sculpt between these two at all. The only thing that I did, in fact, notice is right here in Megatron's ass cheeks. So on his ass cheeks right here, you can see these back flaps right here have a curve right there at the corner. On the KO, there is no curve, it's just a sharp angle right there on the edge of his ass cheeks. Other than that, the figure itself has the exact same sculpt from everything I can tell. Now, I will say there is a difference, and I'll show some pictures here. There is a difference in the accessories. I did notice the accessories between the official and the KO. The details on the KO is actually sharper than the details on the official Hasbro, and that goes for the cannon, that goes for the swords, that goes for the gun as well. There just seems to be sharper, more crisp details on the accessories for the KO than the official. Now, as far as articulation goes, they move exactly the same. But I will tell you what I noticed on the KO is the joints seem to be a little bit tighter. For better or worse, not a lot, but just a hair bit tighter. They have the exact same range of motion on both figures, but there is a little bit of tightness on the KO that I did not get out of the box on the official Hasbro, and it's pretty much in every joint. Okay, now I'll go over why I think that is here in just a minute, but the only major difference I noticed was in the shoulder joints. The KO has ratchets in the shoulder joints, whereas on the Studio Series it's just smooth. There is no ratcheting or anything like that. As far as the paint goes, this may be the biggest difference. You got great paint on the Studio Series figure. The paint on the KO is really good, but not perfect. And in fact, you might even be able to see it from right here. You notice the red is a little more red here, the blue's a little more blue, the yellow's a little more yellow. And then of course, we don't have the Decepticon decal on the front of the KO. So it's the same paint, but just not as bright. And then I did notice, and I'll show a picture of this up close, there is some areas like on the inside of the legs where you can tell they painted over the black with gray, and they didn't quite get to the edges. And so there is a little bit of of issues there with the paint. It's not major. It's not anything that would even bother me. And to be honest, did I not have both of these sitting here to do a comparison of, I probably wouldn't have even noticed that, there were little issues here and there, to be honest. But since I've got both of them here, and since this is a review comparing the two, I do need to mention it. So, engineering. This is the thing I think that I noticed the most. And that's going to be that the Hasbro uses, in areas where the articulation is going to be very obvious and require, a larger pin or a screw or something like that, Hasbro uses black pins, which to me blend in really nicely with the overall deco and sculpt and paint and all that kind of stuff of the figure. The KO uses just bright silver screws, which are just much more noticeable. Now, those pins and screws are in places that aren't very noticeable from the front of the figure, so you don't really see them, you don't really pay attention to them, but they are there. And if you're a little bit of a purist or a perfectionist, that might be something that bothers the shit out of you. Honestly, I don't know at all. I do want to talk about price. Like I said, this dude retail at GameStop anyway, which GameStop's always a little bit higher. This dude cost me basically $64 plus tax, so I don't know, probably around $67, $68, give or take, for the official version. The AliExpress special cost me $21.29 with free shipping. Now, it took like 3 weeks to get here, but that means that basically this knockoff is about a third of the price of the official if you pay GameStop retail. If you go to the secondary market like eBay and you're paying $100 or more for the official version, that means this costs less than a quarter of what the official version costs. That's a significant difference in price between these two. Now, the main thing I want to talk about here is basically overall hand feel. The one thing that I noticed right out of the box is the KO is lighter. Not excessively lighter, but enough that you can tell a difference. And that just tends to, I don't know, it just kind of makes it have a quote-unquote cheaper feel. Not necessarily a low quality feel, but just cheaper. Like they used thinner plastic and cheaper material to put this thing together. It again is not excessive. The difference between these two is not much, but it is noticeable. So that might be a sign of them just using thinner, cheaper plastic, which of course they're gonna do. It's a Chinese knockoff, so yeah, they're gonna do that. The other thing that I noticed is that the eyes on Megatron, the red eyes, which are done very well on both of them, are larger on the Studio Series versus the KO. So it just looks like his eyes are a little more wider opened on the official version versus the KO. It doesn't really look different as far as quality. It just looks kind of like he has two different expressions on his face. His eyes are a little more closed, like he's examining something a little bit closer on the KO as opposed to the official version. Look, final thoughts on this. The KO is fucking awesome. This is a great figure. Honestly, if I had gotten a hold of this one first, I probably wouldn't have even bought this one here. I just would have found a little Decepticon decal for him and I would have been good to go. It's absolutely fantastic, especially seeing as how it was a third of the price I paid for this one and a quarter of the price I would have paid on eBay. I say this thing is, in my opinion, if things like, you know, the screws that you can see are not a deal breaker for you, I would say that the KO is the preferable option, to be completely honest. It's just really hard to beat that price point. I mean, at that point, this thing is cheaper than a deluxe. You know, that's crazy. At less than $22 for this guy, free shipping from AliExpress. Yeah, I had to wait 3 weeks, but it's a phenomenal figure. And to be honest, while I'm sure there are some Transformer experts out there, I certainly am not one of them. And if you would have handed me this and said, hey, here's the new Megatron, I would never have known this was a KO. If you put that little decal on the chest there, I wouldn't have even known. You know, I would have just thought, oh, I guess, you know, they're using screws. Or that's even if I noticed the screws, to be honest, because most of the time I'm going to sit there and look at it like this, not like this. So it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. Again, I'm not knocking this one in any way, shape, or form. It is a superior figure, but when you look at the price, dude, like, it's just really hard to recommend you should go hunting around to pay, you know, $67, $68 for this guy. That's if you can find him, or go spend $100 plus for him on eBay. when this guy here can be had for 22 bucks. So yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer. The KO is probably the preferable choice. I know that some Transformer purists are going to get their panties in a bunch. I don't really care, because this thing's awesome, and I can definitely recommend it. So that is it, guys. I appreciate you watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. And as always, always remember to enjoy your collection.